Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Johnny Greene here in Seattle, Washington. We want to say thank you for being here. And we also want to say if you are here for the first time, we want to say welcome. If you've been back here for a few times, we want to say welcome back. And to the ones that have been here since day one, we want to say we owe you a debt of gratitude for showing your support. Now, with no further ado, we have our hands full. We have a full house. We are blessed to have the team back again. That is myself, Johnny Greene Jr. in Seattle, Washington, Mr. Executive, that be International Executive Steph McNeal, again, Seattle, Washington, hailing from the great state of Chicago, Illinois. We also have Miss Tannisha Glaspie, Executive, who actually is in Arizona, and Mr. Charles White, Continental Executive himself in the great state of, as we say, the Big D, that be Texas. Now, folks, you're in for a treat again. If you do me a favor, we do something here, Wealth Builder World style, Wealth Builders Worldwide style. And what we want to do is if you are here and we know you come from all walks of life, from all different parts of the world, could you do me a favor and go to our chat and put where you are dialing in from? We want folks to see that this is a global business. We are not running this from just the front corner store. No, we're not just dialing in from your back door, your back office, the back kitchen. We are dialing in from everywhere in all corners. So if you actually see the chat, it is blowing up. We have several states and countries being represented. So we again want to say thank you. I'm going to digress because I can go for a while, but I do want to say, while everybody is actually doing us a favor by putting in the chat where you're dialing in from, we want you to take some copious notes. So please take out a pen and a piece of paper. Now, the reason why you want to take copious notes, if you're not seeing what our elemental certificates are doing, we're simply making our money our servants. Let me say that again. When I was a young kid, my mother would always tell me, boy, go do this. Son, because I'm your mama, go do this. So I'm going to tell my money to go do the same thing, and I'm going to put my money to work by becoming my servant. When I went to work, I had a full-time job in the auto industry for 24 years in finance. I had to go work for my money. And since I've been able to retire and put my money to work, let me say that again. When you're dealing with the multiple six figures in the home, yourself individually, and you get to go tell your money to go work for you, and it's coming back with more money, that's just putting your money to work. So folks, we have the pleasure of some very, very talented individuals who is going to tell us how to put that money to work. So with no further ado, if we could actually give Mr. McNeal the co-host rights, he's going to share some of the ideas. I think I gave you just a couple of things to take note of. One's going to be, we are going to be talking about blockchain. We're going to talk about the elemental certificates. We're going to talk about a payback weekly reward and not an annual rate of return. We're also going to talk about smart contracts. We really don't have to go into that, but we're going to make it very simple and easy. And guess what? We also get to talk about how you, if you choose, how you could actually share this with your friends and family. Not necessary, not mandatory. Everything here, as Miss Glaspie likes to say, is optional. So with no further ado, I have the distinct pleasure to introduce to some and present to others my good friend, mentor, and sponsor, Mr. McNeal, who hails from the great state of Chicago, Illinois. He has been a good brother, good friend, and a good, great best friend that I've been able to add to my family. And he's been an international executive with the company for some months that is building his team to ambassadorship. And he's going to come and give you how this all started, because everybody comes from the beginning, but we need to let you know what the beginning looks like and how we can transition from the beginning, the middle, to right now. So with no further ado, if you'd actually put your hands together, Zoom on the Zoom, and give us a hand clap in the Zoom for our good friend and brother, Mr. Steph McNeal. The floor is yours, sir.
Man, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Greene. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening, not just for the purpose of seeing the presentation, but really getting some information that we believe is very, very important And I love the way Mr. Greene intros, and like he said, Mr. Greene has done some significant things in the space and currently retired and building a phenomenal business. And my yoke brother as we build this business in lockstep, and really, really grateful to be able to work alongside him and others. But he's been that stick and stay. Him and Alfred and Sherman, it's a bunch of jokers. So we're excited. And to be on the same platform, Mr. Charles White, y'all gonna hear about that guy. He's amazing. And so we want to really talk about kind of how this thing happened and how I literally personally kind of missed it when I was first exposed to this. So I'm going to take a second and share my screen. And it's been kind of an amazing journey for me to kind of understand not just how we arrived here, but understand this space and how to capitalize on it and monetize my time and for my family, friends, and colleagues. And that's what we're doing here. It's all about the education. You see, I was exposed to this space in 2009. When I talk about the space, I'm talking about the cryptocurrency and the blockchain. Well, it made no sense to me. And so I ignored it in 2009. Bitcoin was 47 cents a coin. And 2011, had another buddy of mine share this opportunity to get involved with Bitcoin in 2011. And I asked a couple questions, general questions. One was, who's the founder? Legitimate question. He said his name is Satoshi Nakamoto, but no one's ever met him, Stefan. I said, okay, how about the corporate headquarters? Can you tell me a little bit about that? He said, well, there's no corporate headquarters. Everything is on the blockchain. I'm like, no corporate headquarters. Nobody's met the founder, but you're telling me it's the future of money, backed by no government, backed by nobody's military, no precious metals. Needless to say, I didn't send him a nickel, and we started laughing. I said, man, you're not beating me. And I didn't get involved. It was 10 years later. Think about that. 10 years later, my mentor, Dr. Tyrone Best, reached out to me to tell me, Stefan, you heard of Bitcoin? I said, yes. He said, man, it's the future of money. Let's go. And that's what I did. I asked him what I needed to do to get started. And then I did some homework because it was coming from him, a guy who was meticulous, a guy who really, really vets out any type of business. If it doesn't have integrity, he won't get involved. I knew him from over 30 years, and he was an amazing guy. So just on this word alone, I didn't have to investigate. I knew he'd done it already. And so we got started. But here's the rub for me. I wanted to find out, and I prayed, God, how do I present this in such a way that people don't miss the opportunity because of the messenger, don't miss the message because of the messenger. And so this whole idea of economies of time was given to me, and it made sense to me because we've always lived through economies of time. What do I mean by that? That means when there are goods and services that are allocated or introduced, something new to the global marketplace and change the way we do life. It happens all the time. Some of us may remember when we didn't have the internet. Some of us remember when we didn't have computers. Some of us remember we didn't have cell phones. Now it's the rave, right? Then we had Yahoo, those new things called MSN and Google. These iconic brands now, according to Web 1.0, are now some of the biggest employers on the planet. They didn't exist years ago. Innovation happened. Technology made paradigm shifts. Web 2.0, Amazon Web Services, Uber, WhatsApp, WeChat, IG. Again, changing the landscape. Web 3.0, where the things are becoming decentralized, changing the way we do life, and goods and services are meted out. You all remember when we had the boom boxes and the camcorders and the CDs and the cassettes, MP3s, etc. Those were the things people walked around with in the hood and in the parks, everywhere, at the games, the dances, whatever it was doing, we had it all, right? Then this gentleman, innovation happened, right? It keeps innovating. It waits for no one. Steve Jobs comes up with this smart device, this thing called the smartphone. And all of these things are now can be found in one hand. Amazing. Innovation is moving at a great rate. As we see now, a lot of us have experienced that in terms of our dollars, we're looking at, if you're stateside, if you're in the US, we're looking at how the fiat currency is slowly, as Mr. White says, diminishing and dwindling and disappearing, silently robbing us of our purchasing power since 1913. Think about this, 1980, $20 could fill up your grocery cart. 2000, $20 got you a lot of groceries, but not as many. 2023, $20, you got a few things in there. Very, very different, right? Same $20, less purchasing power. Let me bring it home a little bit more. Think about the bag of chips we used to buy at the corner store. And we would get it for 45 cents, 50 cents, 89 cents. The bag was full. You open the bag, they fall out. Now you get that bag at $1.50, $1.60, $1.89, and you put your whole elbow in the bag, right? You can't find them. So cereal boxes, which was once really big and tall and thick, are now short and thin. Same box, boxes are different, same cereal, you're saying, but the prices are more. So their purchasing power is dwindling, as coined by Mr. White. Bitcoin, however, in 2011, one Bitcoin could buy you just a few groceries. 10 years later, one Bitcoin could buy you a car, same Bitcoin. 2030 projected to be able to buy a house and moving at a fast rate. JP Morgan Chase, this guy, Jamie Dimon, as their CEO, he made this statement in 2017. He said, Bitcoin is a fraud and that it would eventually blow up. It's not going to end well. Same bank, June 2023, just a month ago, literally, they're rolling out their own blockchain payment system in euro. And by the way, the euro is the second most profitable currency on the planet right now. The second most popular to the US dollar, but it's still very, very successful, most traded. And he's making that statement in euro. Why is he doing that? Because it's the future of money. It's happening. Fidelity doing the same thing. Introducing their own ETF, similar to mutual funds called exchange traded funds, along with BlackRock. Those two companies, right? Those two names are some of the biggest names in the financial sector, period. What are they doing? And why are they doing what they're doing? Remember, they got a bank of attorneys, they got a bank of analysts doing R&D research for months, for days. That's what they get paid to do, find the flaws, find the mistakes. Does this make sense for us? And they're saying we're going all in. We think you should too. And I'm not giving you financial advice, I'm not a financial planner, but that's what I'm doing for my family. Europe's biggest bank adds support for Bitcoin and Ethereum in terms of ETFs in Hong Kong, HSBC. This is happening in real time, family. Look at this. All these banks, these are iconic brands when you look at this sheet, and I show it every time and I'll continue to show it. Here's why. You may be on this Zoom for the 50th time, but 95% of our world population has yet to even understand or adopt this space. You are, my friend, very, very early. You're an early adopter. You are blessed with your place in time if you take advantage of it and understand it like I do, like we do. So that's why we educate. So we look at what these banks are doing. Goldman Sachs, over 600 million into various blockchain projects. And by the way, we are a blockchain company, not a crypto company, a blockchain company, BNY, one of our country's oldest banks out of New York, the Bank of New York Mellon. Again, hundreds of millions of dollars. Actually, they're all doing billions of dollars in this blockchain development now. This slide is 2 years old. Think about that. You can see this, and I just want to highlight this play. I do it because I need you to understand, when we first got exposed to the internet, most of us, we start getting our computers. Everybody who helped install said, we got to install security for you. We want to install McAfee security. You got a software in a box from Best Buy, Circuit City, wherever you bought it from, you bought that software. Or Certic, this company right here, you look at the blue Goldman Sachs, go to your right, you see Certic right here. They're doing the exact same thing in the blockchain. They're running the same play 30 years later. And they're about to get paid. They're going to do some great things, provide security for navigation on the blockchain, even though right now it's unhackable, it's immutable. But that's what the internet was 30 years ago. But people got smarter. AI is coming out. Calculations are faster. People figure out a way. Citibank, UBS, Wells Fargo, they're all doing the same thing. Goldman Sachs predicts 1 billion new users going to flood this market in the crypto space. Again, BlackRock's decision, it really is game changing because it's changing everything when the people found the money. And if you look at the tea leaves and see what they're doing, it just makes sense. The heavy lifting has been done over the last 12 years. It's time to really look at what's happening. Bitcoin's making a major resurgence, and we're seeing that happening right now. The EU, another economic giant globally, are now allowing their banks to hold 2% of their capital in Bitcoin and crypto. Why would they do that if it was a scam? Why would they do that if it didn't make sense? So when you hear your friends and family, and I say this respectfully, Uncle Ray and them, pastor at your church, whatever, whoever they are incredibly sincere. There's nothing wrong with they're sincere, but they're sincerely wrong. This is moving in real time, and we want to make sure that you get involved and look at what we're doing as well. I want to take an opportunity right now to introduce one of the most iconic men I've had the pleasure to meet in this space, and how he's been able to take what he does from the traditional and what he did in the traditional financial services world, and how he's marrying that in this blockchain space is truly very unique. And how he does that, it makes the very complex very plain. He's a former senior VP of relationship management of a large Midwestern insurance company headquartered in Ohio. He's led efforts to expand relationships in existing financial institutions with clients reporting to him, Charles reported, as the president of the organization. Over 41 years of experience in financial services industry. He's held leadership positions in banks, brokerage firms, insurance companies, and the like. And he's a brother like no other. He's got a very unique way of communicating. We learn something every time he gets on the phone or gets on a Zoom. It's really amazing to be a part of him. And I'm not just trying to blow him up. It's just true. How often do you get a bank president to sit down with you and explain a concept? So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Charles White and his wife, Gail, hail from Dallas, Texas. And it's been a great fun to get to know you, brother. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. McNeal. What a great introduction. Every time you introduce me, you promote me to something else. So I guess I was a bank president for a very short period of time. I had to go in and take over some banks, and so I did a leadership deal for that. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. And the purpose of this meeting, isn't it something, Stefan? Would you come back on for a minute, please? And Mr.
Yes,
Greene, I want you here, and Ms. Glaspie, please come on for just a minute. And I want to talk about a couple things here. I want to talk about, and I'm going to add this will come up again in a minute. Ms. Glaspie, can you turn on your camera? Or if you can't, that's okay. I get it. You have a little one running around, and that's another story. But we talk about, there's 226 people on this call. And I want to tell you the purpose, if I've not ever said the purpose of this call, Mr. Greene, Mr. McNeal, Ms. Glaspie, why we do this. And so I want to tell you why I do it. This call is for the Freedom Rising team. This is the Freedom Rising team call. I've invited all of you to join us. Ms. Glaspie, Mr. Greene, and Mr. McNeal are kind enough to share in the production of this call. And I want to thank them, because they don't have to do any of this. They don't. They have their teams. I'm hoping that their teams are here with us tonight. The purpose of this call is education. Don't get me wrong, okay? What I know and what I share because God has given it to me. A lot of times I'll start talking and something will come out of my head that is a better way to say what I've been trying to say, or what everybody's been trying to say, and that's okay. I get that. But I have 42 years in financial services. Far be it from me to withhold the information that I have at such a time as this. We are in a financial crisis, and most of us don't even know it. We don't even know it. So Mr. McNeal talks about the sunny side, all these things that are coming up and all those things that we're doing, and we can see all this beautiful stuff. And I am compelled to talk about, I was telling Mr. Greene before the call started, I'm going to go to the hardware store and get the biggest screw that I can find. And I'm going to put it up here on beside me so that you can see it. You need to see and think about how the financial institutions in this country are screwing you. I don't normally talk like this. I don't, but this is important. Once you figure out that you're getting screwed, you might decide, I might need to do something about that. That's my point. If you walk away from this meeting and say, I'm not going to do anything about it, I like getting screwed, or I'm uncomfortable with doing something because of the status quo, I want to keep the status quo. I want you to understand that they got your hide nailed to a cross and it's hard to get off. This is not easy stuff. Learning something new is not easy. But at this juncture in our lives, with us about to make a massive leap forward, you get left behind. Okay. All right. So I wouldn't do this, but I was at the silver store today, gold and silver, Arlington Gold and Silver, at the corner of Bowen Road and 303 in Arlington, Texas. Good folk in there, Arlington Gold and Silver. And I bought 60 ounces, 1 ounce, 1 troy ounce pure silver. I bought 60 of them. I bought 60 last week. I bought 60 the week before that. I bought 60 the week before that. Why are you doing that, Charles? I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Why are you doing that? Preparation. Hey, I'm going to be able to get me some groceries. If you walk in the supermarket, they're putting in stuff now. They put in this thing called Fed Now, went live on Thursday. I've been talking about it. If you've been here, you probably heard something about it. It went live on Thursday last. Okay. I'm not saying the economy is going to fall apart. That's not what I'm saying. So did you hear me, Mr. Greene? Did you hear me say the economy is going to fall apart?
No, sir.
Mr. McNeal, did I say that? Mr. Glaspie, did I say that the economy is going to fall apart?
Absolutely not.
Okay. What did I say I was doing? Preparing.
Preparation.
I'm doing preparation. Because here's the worst case scenario, right? The economy falls apart and you have to go barter for groceries. What you going to barter with? What are you going to barter with? I got silver. What you got? So all I'm saying is, if you walk up to the food stand at the market, the farmer's market, every city's got one. You go to the farmer's market and you say, I want some of those greens, and I want some onions, and I want some tomatoes. And you can't hear you. Okay. Can you hear me, Mr. Greene? Okay. Okay. Can't hear you, Galaxy 8. Go out and come back in. All right. The farmer says, what how are you going to pay? How are you going to pay the bill? And you say, well, I got some dollars. He's like, I don't want that. Okay. I got some CBDC, central bank digital currency. And he says, I don't want that either. I'm just saying, I got silver because if our currency crashes, the price of both silver and gold will go up. Should that happen, both silver and gold will go up. And I have 1 ounce gold pieces, but I'm not giving that to no farmer, because if gold goes up 100x, how he going to give me change? How is he going to give me change? Mr. McNeal, you feeling me? Or you understand what I'm saying here?
Absolutely. All day, twice on Sunday.
We have to think. We're a community here. We have to fight through this stuff together. We have to think, use our thinkers. This stuff is going, before it could get rough. These people are putting these new systems in to maintain that screw in your back. They're putting the systems in to maintain the screw in your back. It's up to you to take it out. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox. I've said all I'm gonna say. Oh my goodness.
Hey, you got that gift, man. Just do whatever you want to do.
I'm going to do the presentation. Okay. I'm going to do that now. You guys that are guests on this call, forgive me. Forgive me. It's hot down here. It was 104 today. And so sometimes when it's hot like that, I was telling Ms. Glaspie earlier, I lose my filters. I lost my filter tonight. So please forgive me. But there's some things you need to know that nobody is telling you. And my dad used to say, my dad was a philosopher. He used to say, if you don't know, go ask somebody who knows. If you don't know, go ask someone who knows. Okay, 118 in Palm Springs. God bless y'all. But you know what? Living is something you can choose, especially if you're part of this project. GS Partners the ones that have certificates, you can pick where you live. Right now, it's hot everywhere. So 118. Oh, I'm feeling bad for you, Palm Springs. Let me get my screen share up. And I'm so fired up now, I may not be able to do this presentation. Woo! Mr. McNeal, help me.
You got it, sir. We're following your leady weedy.
All righty. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's talk about this.
Every day, everywhere in the world, people wake up, get dressed.
I forgot to check the box, Ms. Glaspie. You always tell me to check the box and I didn't do it. So I'm going to try that one more time. Please forgive me, folks. I'll get my share sound. I'll get myself together.
And head off to make a living, following the path they've chosen. But deep down inside, there's always a desire for a better way, a simpler way, a legitimate way to make more money, have more free time, and enjoy life rather than just work until we die. We have found a 100% legitimate, inexpensive, logical system with a valuable product and real-time commissions. Generate income with just a cell phone and an internet connection from anywhere at any time. Get started now, get paid now. Do you look for ways to make more money? Ask for info and we will send you more information. Let's talk.
I think I already talked. I know what you're saying. Why am I here? The opportunity is bigger than you think. Somebody's writing on my screen. I don't know how they're doing that, but if you're doing it unconsciously, please stop. These are questions. There are questions you may be asking yourself. Is my money safe? That's a question for you. Is my money safe? Okay, I'm going to talk about this right now. Money is supposed to be a safe store of value. A safe store of value. And so they want a target of 2% inflation. That means that you evaporate 2% per year. But they're just trying to do this now and control it. And since they went off the gold standard, they're only down to 3 cents. So left in the original dollar, 3 cents. So I don't know how they're going to do that, but that's their target. You're already in the negative. Our money is not a safe store of value unless you own gold. Okay. Is my money guaranteed? We'll talk about that. Does the FDIC fully insure all my deposits? No. Who is this company? I'll talk about that. Who are the people conducting this meeting? I kind of introduced everybody. I also want to introduce the team leader of the Freedom Rising team. What will I gain by fully participating? I don't know. You might get some information, something you can act on, something that might help you to weather the storm that's coming. That's what I'm thinking. So let's talk about the Federal Reserve Bank Act, Deposit Act of 2020. I'm going to adjust this slide because this Fed Now is now. It went live last Thursday. And I don't know if you've tried to send a wire transfer or a Zelle or anything, or Cash App or anything like that. Everything's delayed right now because they are putting together the connection points. And I'll show in a minute how this thing is supposed to work. I'll stop sharing my screen and I will play a special video directly from the Fed that tells us how Fed Now works. Okay, so it says CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency versus Fed Now. House Bill 14067. Go out there and take a look at it. Write that down. New government technology to do money transfers started July 20th, 2023. Why did they need something like this? Number one, they needed to upgrade the money system to catch up with the private sector. They needed to upgrade the money system to catch up with the private sector. You see these names like Cash App and Zelle and Venmo and all those guys can do money transfers in very short. And what's the other one? The one that does, it'll come to me. But all these things are slowed down now because everybody's trying to tap into this new Fed technology. Fed wants to have control. So that's, I always talk about my hand. You can see the pink side of my hand, the transparent side, and then there's the dark. I'm a brown boy. You see the dark side of my hand, okay? Pink side transparent, dark side hidden. Everything the Fed does, there's a pink side and a dark side. There's a pink side and a dark side. So on the pink side of Fed Now, we get instant money transfers, right? The money goes like that. It will when they get it up and working properly. It's up, it just ain't working right. So that's the pink side. You won't have to use wire transfer at the bank. One of my affiliates, my close affiliates, works for the largest bank in the world. And they're still trying to decide whether they want to give up that $35 revenue for sending a wire transfer and whether they're going to charge something to send Fed Now. If they do, we're done. If they charge for Fed Now, we're done. I'm not dealing with that anymore. They've been robbing me for years, and now they want to charge me for Fed Now, something the Fed put in with my tax dollars? Not happening. Okay, so Fed Now is live and in operation. And it is the precursor, just like the blockchain was the precursor for Bitcoin. The blockchain, this is the Fed putting in, they won't call it a blockchain, but that's what they're trying to do, is put in a blockchain. They're putting in their own style of blockchain so that they can take over the transfer of money. But that's not all. See, I say Fed Now, and then what next? There's always something next. So the first thing in this Federal Reserve Bank Deposit Act of 2020 was, number one, banks no longer have to have reserves specifically set aside for lending. They can make loans out of thin air. Most of y'all didn't know that, but that was effective with this Reserve Deposit Act of 2020. Number two, banks no longer have to keep vault cash. Don't have to keep vault cash anymore. That's why when you go to the bank and ask for $10,000 in cash, they might say something like, we come back on Wednesday. What that means is we don't have it in the branch right now. We'll order it for you and it'll come in on the next truck from the Fed. They don't want to say that because they don't want you to know that they're not holding that kind of cash in the branch. Why do they not? Because it's expensive to do it. Money sitting around. So here's what the bank understands. If I put the money out on the Fed wire, I can earn something on it. If it's sitting in my vault in cash, I can't earn anything on it. That ought to tell you something. If you have money sitting in the bank and it's not earning anything, you're not earning anything on it, you have to watch what the banks do. You have to do what they do. Take your money out of that situation. Mr. Greene talked about it earlier. Get your money a job, put it to work. Money has to work. The bank knows that. Money sitting around will evaporate. It will decline and dwindle. Now, if you don't understand what I'm saying, or how could it be it's just sitting in the bank? Well, guess what? We have this thing called inflation. When we turned the corner from 2022 to 2023, inflation was over 10%. That's why the Fed started raising interest rates. And the stock market started going absolutely bat crazy. You know the word that goes between bat and crazy. So you have to understand that all these things are tied together. They're all tied together. They're all tied together. So the Fed is going to keep raising interest rates. The stock market is on a rip. It's on a tear. But inflation is still around 5%. And guess what? They're going to keep raising interest rates until they get it down to 2%, to the target. Is the target wrong? It could be. It could be wrong. But, you know, saver rates are tied to what the Fed funds rate is. That's wrong too. So I'm just saying, how do I know about all this stuff? I have a banking degree. And I've hung out with economists for the last 40 years. Some of my favorite people. Anyway, Fed now. All right. So the second piece of that, but what Fed now is, and the fourth piece of that is this CBDC, new government technology to do money transfer. No. CBDC. What is that? Central bank digital currency issued by the Federal Reserve Bank. And so, you know, like I said, there's a light side and a dark side, a transparent side. So you won't have to handle the nasty money anymore. You won't have to have pennies. The clerk at the supermarket or at the store where you go and you do a transaction and you hand them some cash, and they have to get the calculator out to figure out how much change to give you, because they stopped teaching that in school. Did you know that all this stuff works together? They stopped teaching that in school, how to make change. They stopped teaching it. So the clerks today, the young people that are behind the counter, can't make change. Don't know how to do it. So the CBDC, it'll just pop up on the screen. You're getting $3.44, or it won't even be no change, no such thing, because they're going to take the $3.44 out of your account and bring it to them for settlement. Where will your account lie? Right now, it's at the bank. After Fed now, I can't say that. You know, there's a lot of people that say, and this is absolute speculation. You've heard some stuff, but it's absolute speculation. Want to know why? Because the law's not finished yet. It's like, you know, we're building something in this country that's going to compete with something that's already taken off and is rolling like a steamroller, and it's hard to catch up with. It's a Mack truck on 140 miles an hour, and you're just putting along, put. That's our government trying to catch up with the blockchain and Web 3.0. Mr. McNeal talked about that. A lot of stuff going on, folks. We need to start doing a little research. My wife was going to give me a research tool that I could share with you tonight, but I tell you what, if you come back next week, I'll be able to share that research tool with you if I can get it before she goes out of town. This research tool will allow you to look up the blockchain. It'll allow you to look up smart contracts. It'll allow you to look up some of the terminology, nomenclature of the new economy. We need that. Okay. The problem now is that 17% or 56 million people rely on cash. They are unbanked. And the banking people say they're unwashed. Okay, that's the way they think of them. But 56 million people don't use bank accounts. And I'm that close to being one of them. Oh my goodness. A digital dollar could soon replace the US dollar. Okay. Most people could end up holding worthless dollars. You know what? If you don't, when they call for the dollars to be turned in, turn them in. Get yourself an account, turn them in. Because I think there are others who think that they'll create a crisis and they'll give you a lot of these CBDCs to pay your bills. I'm going to take them, make my mortgage payment with it. I'm going to do, yes, give me that money. I'll take it. You don't want yours, I'll take it. So why are we doing this? Centralized banking, we're just making a comparison. Centralized banking under government control. That's what centralized banking is. Started in 1780s, because that's when the country started. Then in 1913, the Federal Reserve Act, the law created the central banking system. All aspects of banking were regulated until the Carter administration. That's probably why he only had one term. He was really a nice guy. Current bank interest rates. Let's do a comparison. Current bank interest rates, $2,000 deposit, $2,000 at, if it's a savings account, 0.001% to 5% APY. This APY means annual percentage yield, how much you earn in the course of a year. That's banking terminology. Decentralized banking, blockchain technology, this House Bill 14067, they're trying to regulate us, this other side, the new economy. Metaverse certificates of deposit, $2,000 deposit, rate of return, weekly rewards, 5% to 22% WPR. Now, let's compare these two terms. APR is annual percentage yield. WPR is weekly payback reward. That's our nomenclature. That's our terminology. Okay. Weekly payback reward. So if you one of my affiliates ran into one of my partners ran into someone who said, I got $50,000 in the bank. And he said, you do? He said, well, how much did you earn on that last year? $7, he said, $7. I'm distressed even repeating, $7, he said. And oh my God, it's 7:42. Stephen, why didn't you tell me? Send me a text message. Get going, Charles. 7:40. So he earned $7, and my affiliate pulled out his account. He says, look, I earned $7 last week on $100, not 50,000 last week. Okay, we're going to get to that in a minute. So started in 2008, the DeFi in 2018, still looking into regulation under Joe Biden executive order, March 9th, 2022. Here, who's doing this presentation? You met Mr. McNeal, Mr. Greene, Ms. Glaspie, and you met me, Charles White. This is my wife, who is the leader of our team. She's a certified training manager, certified life coach, money empowerment speaker, and a blog writer. And I am a former, I like that, former registered securities principal. And people ask me all the time, what the heck are you doing over here? Isn't that the question? What the heck are you doing over here? Because I don't like what they're doing over there at all. They taught us differently. When I went to college, I graduated from the banking school of the University of Virginia, and I worked in the financial services industry for 42 years. And they taught us differently. There was always a covenant. You know that word covenant? Write that down, look it up. There was always a covenant between the financial company, whether it was a bank, an insurance company, or a brokerage firm, and the customer. The covenant was that we would always protect the customer and give them a fair return. That covenant has been broken. That's why I'm over here. And they're shameless with it. So I was an executive in banking, insurance, and securities, a chartered retirement planning counselor. That's where they teach you how to take $1 million and show a person how they can spend $40,000 a year and never run out of money. Think about it. A chartered retirement planning counselor, a certified financial education instructor. That's what I am now. You see that little seal over in the corner, Financial Education Council. I've gone through their course of study to be able to speak to you and be certified to speak to you about financial information, to share financial information. And I'm a proud member of Wealth Builders Worldwide. This is not a Wealth Builders platform. This is my own platform. I felt so strong about it. I thought I should do my own platform so that I could really share the information without getting in their way. All right. So this is a U.S. debt clock. The problem is over in the corner where it says U.S. national debt, $31.557 trillion in debt. Now, this has the whole world upset because the United States currency, called the US dollar, is the reserve currency for the entire world. For the entire world since 1947. And they don't like it anymore because we're in so much debt. I suspect that over some period of time, we're going to lose that. You hear them talking about them being pundits and politicians about a great reset. We're going to have a great reset. Don't worry about it. We're going to have a great reset. Well, what does that mean? That means they're going to devalue your dollar. It's already down to 3 cents. They're going to devalue your dollar and put it on a par where it means it's actually meaningful. Well, that might work. It worked in Mexico. It probably took about 20 years, but I remember when Mexico devalued the peso. I was actually down there. It was $1 to 1 peso. And when they devalued it, then it was $1 to 10 pesos. And then $1 to 100 pesos. I don't know where it finally settled, but it's, you know, it ain't good. So what happened was they could buy, if it was made in Mexico, it was okay. But if it was made someplace else, like the United States, they couldn't afford it anymore. They couldn't afford it anymore. When they traveled here and got pesos, I mean, with their pesos, they couldn't stay here. They couldn't afford to be in the hotels because the pesos didn't buy anything. So they're, you know, the things that they bought from outside the country or when they traveled outside of their country, it was a mess. Okay. When they talk about a great reset, that's what they're talking about. Okay. So if you have your money, all of your money in the old economy, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, bank accounts, and they do a great reset, guess what? You're not going to be happy. I'm telling you now, you're not going to be happy. That's why when, when I go to the gold store, the man says, "You back again?" And I said, "You betcha. I'll be back again. I'm coming back this week. I'm going to get another 60 ounces of silver." If you see, if they devalue the dollar, the value of the silver will go up. If they devalue the dollar, the value of the gold will go up. Stay with me now. All right. Let's listen to these two ladies. There's an updated video, and I meant to put it in here, but you know what? This is important. I think what they're saying is very important. It's very relevant.
That you say and have been saying it's just one big distraction. So, you know, kicking the can down the road for the debt ceiling, the banking crisis. But the question is always, you know, what are they trying to distract us away from?
The next big crisis, which, I mean, who knows when we're going to see that. But the reality is this is the end of the current system's life cycle. And it actually died in 2008.
That's
and
right.
They just pumped a whole bunch of, you know, garbage into the system to make it look like it's still alive and still viable when it's not. I mean, did you look at Zimbabwe, right?
Yep.
Zimbabwe's stock market is up 600% because people are trying to save themselves for the depreciation in the currency because the public gets it and they've been dealing with it for a very long time. But is the stock market really going to save anybody? No, because the only thing you can convert your stocks into is this garbage that they're devaluing. And that's the only choice that they have. And officially, we have 3 cents left. And if you go on the Fed, you just see that continue to decline. So that's official. When we get to 0, is that because the public has lost confidence in this currency, in this con game, is absolutely over?
And that brings me to my next point, because you've been very vocal and transparent about your views on the crypto industry. And I want to get your thoughts on the SEC's crackdown, throwing a 1-2 punch this week to Coinbase, to CZ's Binance. The bigger question I have for you, Lynette, is what you make of the timing of this. I mean, their FedNow system is coming out, and a lot of experts think that they're just trying to destroy the competition. Do you think that makes sense? Yeah?
Oh, makes perfect sense. In fact, it was either the IMF or the BIS, Bank for International Settlements or International Monetary Fund, their paper that basically was private crypto's bad. Federal Reserve, central bank crypto's good. So, they brought it out. It got in 2009 was when Bitcoin came out. So it was about getting people comfortable. Now we have, as you pointed out, the FedNow accounts going into effect in July, so very shortly. What we need is a ginormous crisis that scares the crap out of everybody, that they then pump a whole bunch of these CBDCs in and say, go spending, right? Because we're a consumer-driven economy. Yeah. Here's a whole bunch of free money, right?
You say bigger
and they're
crisis.
attempting to get adoption.
I'm saying bigger crisis than what we just went through with the pandemic.
Yes. I think that was a test to see how far they could push people and what they could get people to do. But yeah, bigger than that. It has to be. We need to change the entire system. And things don't look the same today as they did before, just like they don't look the same as they did in 2007 before the banking system actually died. So yeah, much bigger.
Bring it home for us with this. Just your thoughts on what, the lack of action we're seeing in the gold price. Now, anyone who invests in gold really should not be tracking the price of gold daily, but I get the emails of why isn't gold higher, despite everything going on. Lynette, what's your take on what's happening here on the gold front?
It's truly so simple. Number one, what is currently happening in the markets is that the biggest debt bubble in history is in the process of popping. And the central banks are being integral in popping that massive bubble. While a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. And once you really understand that this stuff is going away, then you go to this stuff. But if you go to gold, it's outside of the system. And it holds no geopolitical risk and no counterparty risk. It is a proven inflation hedge. So do they want you to hold this? No, they don't. Why would they want you to do that? They can't just take it then.
And it's interesting, though, because we see central banks continuing to buy gold. In fact, World Gold Council just put out a survey that, surveying most central banks, saying they have no intention of slowing down their gold purchases, trying to pull and add in. But everyone will focus and say, oh, but Turkey sold their gold. And I know you speak about this.
Right, because, what is gold's function? Gold is savings. That's what it is. It's protection. What's Turkey going through right now? They need a lot of protection. So gold in Turkey, they're not selling it because they feel, they don't need it anymore. They're selling it so that they have access to the things that they need because nobody will take the Turkish currency.
Exactly. Well said,
It's
Lynette.
doing its job.
It's doing its job. Lynette Zhang, thank you so much for joining us today. Always appreciate your insights. Crazy stuff happening.
All right, I have to skip a slide because I went too long with my tirade. And oh, I don't have to skip that slide. Let me get back. Escape. Share screen. PowerPoint. Share.
In today's fast-paced world, time is money. More people, businesses, and organizations are demanding instant payments. That's why the Federal Reserve is developing the FedNow service, a safe and efficient instant payments infrastructure that will modernize the U.S. payment system. The FedNow service will give financial institutions the opportunity to innovate, enabling their customers to send and receive money in seconds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Funds will settle between financial institutions in real time, which means there's no buildup of interbank obligations, and end users will have access to the funds in seconds. How will the FedNow service work? Imagine the owner of a coffee shop is running low on coffee beans and needs to schedule a quick delivery. She places an order, and the coffee bean company sends her a request for payment. She responds to the request for payment and pays for the coffee beans right then and there through an app from her credit union, which uses the FedNow service. Once she initiates the payment, her credit union screens the payment and sends an ISO 20022 compliant payment message, either directly or through a service provider to the FedNow service over the Federal Reserve's FedLine network. The FedNow service instantly validates the payment message and passes it along to the coffee bean supplier's bank. In real time, the supplier's bank confirms to the FedNow service that it intends to accept the payment, and the FedNow service debits and credits the master accounts of both the shop owners and the coffee bean supplier's financial institutions or the master accounts of their correspondents. The FedNow service also immediately sends a payment message with an advice of credit to the supplier's bank and notifies the shop owner's credit union that settlement is complete. Finally, the supplier's bank credits the supplier's account in near real time, making the funds available. The supplier's bank will have the option of sending a confirmation to the shop owner's credit union that the payment has been posted to the supplier's account, providing the coffee shop owner with certainty that the payment was received. The FedNow service will be designed to be flexible and support a broad range of potential use cases. Banks, credit unions, and other industry providers can use it as a springboard for innovation to support a range of applications such as account-to-account transfers and bill pay. For example, now imagine it's after hours and the shop owner gets a reminder that her car insurance bill is due today. She may be able to avoid a late fee by initiating a bill payment in her credit union app and selecting to pay it now. Later, she repays a friend for a pizza they shared using an app provided by her credit union that clears and settles through the FedNow service. With this service, banks and credit unions can remain competitive by offering the type of payment options customers increasingly expect in today's fast-paced world. The FedNow service will support flexible adoption, allowing financial institutions the option to work with aggregators, processors, and correspondents to adopt the service. Banks and credit unions will also have the option to adopt the full set of FedNow capabilities or sign on as a receive-only participant. The initial launch of the FedNow service will focus on core clearing and settlement capabilities. Additional features will be released in phases to meet evolving industry demands and changes in technology. Get ready for the FedNow service. Learn more at fednow.org.
So that video comes from FedNow or the Federal Reserve.org, O-R-G. If you want to go back and watch it again, or you want to find it and share it with others, that's where you find it. I saw in the chat where somebody says they want to take control. No, they don't want to take control. They have control and they don't want to lose control. So they're going to take even greater control, In fact, your bank accounts won't be sitting at the bank at some point. They'll be sitting, you'll have these FedNow accounts that'll do your all your transactions. So there may not be checking accounts in the future. And these are all some of the things that are being talked about. They hired 90,000 IRS agents. 90,000 IRS agents because tax revenues are down. And they can't have that. So they got to figure out what we're doing with our money. With FedNow, they'll be able to track every dollar, every quarter, every nickel, every dime, where it came from, where it went. They will be in complete control. They will be in complete. Right now, they can't do that right now. But they will be in complete control. They even have an API into a cryptocurrency provider where you'll be able to go through FedNow and buy cryptocurrency and send it off to your favorite exchange to do whatever it is you want to do with it. But they'll be able to track it and tax it. This is about taxation control. See, we gave this private bank control of our money back in 1913, and they're not gonna just give up because we put in the blockchain and Bitcoin and GS Partners. They don't want to give up. They're not just going to give up control of the money. They're not going to just give it up. I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to explain. Let's look at the last bit of this presentation. I'm going to share my screen. PowerPoint. Where's the right PowerPoint? I don't see it. It's hiding from me. I have to go get it. Excuse me. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to go get it and bring it to the front again because it disappeared on me. All right. Okay, so I found it. Let's see if I can find it again. Share screen. All right, there it is. Big and bold. Can you see that? Mr. McNeal, can you see that? Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says she wouldn't be surprised to see more bank consolidations. I'm not saying that banks are going to fail. She's saying that banks are going to fail. They just consolidated PacWest today. And these are small banks because we don't need them anymore. They don't want them around. They're a risk. They lost a lot of deposits. And so when we had that deposit run about 6 weeks ago, where, I don't know, $80 billion ran out off the banks in one day, this is the result. They don't have enough deposits to keep themselves in business anymore. So PacWest is gone, got merged, and will continue. Welcome to our GS partners. I apologize for getting here too late. I've been on a soapbox, but there's some things I just had to say. So we don't want to watch that. We're going to keep going. We're going to talk about who GS Partners is. Remember, I told who is this company? It began in 2013. And if you're on a computer, take a screenshot of this. If you're not on a computer, take your phone and take a shot of this. This is important stuff. The story of GSB, Gold Standard Bank. And, you know, Gold Standard Bank is not the end all, do all, be all, but man, I like the track that they're on. So in 2013, they started. They're disruptors. Well, what do you mean by that? Name in the chat. Name 2, 3, 4 disruptors. Name some disruptors. Put them in the chat so people can see what disrupting is. I'm going to give you one. Amazon. I mean, I go to the store now, I can't find nothing. I go to Amazon, I find it. That's disruption. They deliver it to my door. And so the thinking now is that, why do I even get in my car at 104 degrees today and go to the store to look for something when I can just go on my cell phone on Amazon and get it delivered to my, that's disruption. This company is a disruptor. 2014, GSB invested significant funds to develop an ecosystem. 2015, the group then implemented blockchain technology. 2017, preparations began to enable access to retail clients. 2019, GSB opened a regulated. Now here they've been unregulated all this time. 2019, we got a regulated company here opening up a trust. 2020, that's where GS Partners came into being. We're GS Partners. Gold Standard Partners. We're the marketing arm of Gold Standard Bank. And what we do is we market their products. How do we do that? Do we run ads in the newspaper? We could. Gold Standard Bank owns a media group. People don't know that. Mr. Hyde wasn't seeing what he wanted in the regular press. He went out and bought a newspaper chain. You guys don't know this guy. He is not a man to be stopped by obstacles. You want somebody like that on your side. I do. Okay, 2021. The bank GSB continue to innovate and development of the Lydian world. Now, the Lydian world is the big deal in this whole thing. You're going to see some stuff that's going to blow your mind tonight, but the Lydian world is the big deal. I'm not even going to show you what it is. You need to get back to the person that invited you here and get some Lydian world information. We're talking about lifetime passive residual income. What is it? What is residual income, Charles? Okay. There's a guy by the name of Michael Jackson. He's dead. But his kids still get the royalties off the music he made 25 and 30 and 35 years ago, 40 years ago. They still get the royalties. Develop some royalties for yourself and your grandkids. You can do it right here in this system. 2022, they introduced meta brokerage. That's in the metaverse, brokerage services in the metaverse, which introduced certificates of deposit. They are awesome. And most recently in 2023, GSB launched Swiss Valorum Bank. Now we have a front-running regulated company and a front-running non-regulated company. So we got both. So we're like a bridge between the old economy and the new economy. Okay, here's my disclaimer. This presentation is, here I am, let's see, 8:07, I'm just getting to the stupid disclaimer. Charles, you're really muffing it up tonight. This presentation is for the exclusive purpose of educating the community, members and users of products, services, and potential rewards programs found on the gspartners.global platform. That's where you find it, powered by Swiss Valorum Bank Limited. Every effort has been made to accurately represent the GS Partners rewards plan. So I'm not even going to talk about it. What I want to talk about here, take a screenshot of this list. There's 3 or 4 things I need to tell you. Number one, they will not accept your dollars. They don't want them. You got to convert them to cryptocurrency to get these products I'm going to tell you about. Number 2, I am not a financial advisor. You saw my credentials. I used to be a financial advisor. I used to supervise over 20,000 financial advisors around the United States. I'm no longer in that capacity, so I don't give financial advice. Don't be asking me financial questions. I don't give tax advice. Why? Because we're in 170 countries. Everybody's taxing system is different, so don't ask tax questions on here. And number 3, I'm not a legal advisor. I'm not going to give legal advice. So with that being said, and understanding they won't take your money, they won't take your cash, they'll take your money, but they won't take your fiat currency. Let's go forward. GS Partners works all over the world with exclusive tech partners. Compliance is at the heart of our business. I wasn't very compliant. Yes, I was. I didn't say anything that wasn't compliant. We operate in a highly regulated environment. We differentiate ourselves through good conduct, and we are well positioned to continue to thrive in an ever-evolving regulatory environment. Our partners currently operate in more than 150 countries worldwide in this regulated environment. Okay, let's do a market overview. What are we doing? Who are we dealing with? gspartners.global is a marketing hub. So think about that. We're a hub. We connect people with these amazing companies and industries and projects. We're in the AI technology sector, which has just blown up over $100 trillion a year. Forex market with an average daily trading volume of 5.3 trillion a day. The real estate market with a $382 billion global value. Crypto market. Market cap over $1 trillion, renewable energy, market value over $928 billion. Nutraceuticals, $382 billion market value, and online gaming with a market worth of $138 billion. Here are the companies that we work through. Swiss Valorum Bank being the lead now. And here's the key. This is the golden key. There's 9 different certificates of deposit. They have 9 different price points. They all work the same. Let's take a look at the $1,000 price point. Okay. The key to this whole thing is increase your weekly paybacks. Increase your weekly paybacks. Let's say that you have a job and that you make, that you bring home or you make $2,500 every week, right? So what you want to do, set a goal to get your payback from the certificates to equal that amount or more. I want to tell you something. That's a liberating experience. It's a liberating, I like that word. It's a liberating experience. Our chairman, our founder, Mr. Tyrone Best, who left this veil of tears back in March, used to say, freedom. It's all about freedom. Let me tell you something. You get your paybacks to match or go greater than your weekly take home from your job. That means your money is working harder than you are. Your money is working harder than you are. Same thing with your retirement. If you have a retirement and you get $7,000 a month from your retirement and you get another $2,000 from Social Security, it's $9,000 a month. What you want to do is you want to get your weekly payback to equal or exceed what you get from your current sources of income. Why? That means you're not dependent on any one thing anymore. When you reduce dependency, what do? You push down on dependency and you release independence. You push down on dependence, you trap it, and you release independence. That's what we're trying to do here. Okay. How does this thing work, Charles? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sectors or block folios that you can load. So the purchase price of this water certificate, there are 9 certificates from $100 to $100,000. We're just going to look at they all work the same. We're going to look at the water, which is $1,000 purchase price. So this purchase price, once you buy it, nothing happens. But once you load one sector, after you load one sector, this one's called fintech or financial technology. What happens? Well, the first thing that happens is that the load activates the blockfolio. It activates the whole thing. And so this $1,000 purchase price starts a payback program of 5% per week, weekly payback program on the price that's driven from the price, not the load, from the price for 52 weeks. That's the first thing that gets activated. And if you think about it, if you use your thinker, 5% for 52 weeks is 260% of what you started with. That's enough to cover the price and the load after that, after 52 weeks, after 40 weeks, really. So the other thing that happens once you load it, when this 52 weeks is gone over and you've received that 5% for 52 weeks, you have exhausted this fund. Nothing else is coming from it. Nothing else. Okay, it's all paid out to you in a payback program. The other thing that happens is you start getting a monthly payback on the load. So you get 1.5% on the load. That's $15 a month for 24 months. And I was, before I came to this meeting, I was watching the movie, 2 Mules for Sister Sarah. And Clint Eastwood bless his soul, said something very interesting. He made a comparison. He said, that's better than a sharp stick in the eye. And I thought about this certificate. 1.5% per month doesn't sound like much, but it's better than a sharp stick in the eye. That's 18% per year. 18% per year. And I challenge anybody on here to tell me that they've gotten more than 18% from anywhere in the last couple of years. Now, I've gotten more from that in the stock market over time, but I also lost more than that in the stock market. This is a fixed rate of return, by the way. Fixed, write that down. Fixed rate of return. Fixed rate of return. Okay. Now, it also triggers a bonus of $3,500. And then you get your load back, 1,000 USDT. So bonuses and load are released at the end of the term. You get it back. So then what have you spent? You spent the $1,000? No, because you got it back over here. You spent this $1,000? No, because at the end of the term, you get it back and a $3,500 bonus. And you get the 1.5%, better than a sharp stick in the eye, for 24 months on your monthly payback program. You can take this 5% and activate what I like to call the risk mitigation strategy. If you're scared of this thing and you don't know, well, how do I know? Well, take the 5% every week and take it out. That's $50 a week. Take it out. Spend it. Take it out. Drop it into this 1.5% per month for 24 months so that it earns more. You have that option. You also have the option to take out the 1.5% per month. That button pops up on your computer. Withdraw or compound for both the monthly and the weekly. At the end of the term, you get your $3,500 bonus, your $1,000 load, USDT load, 1,000 USDT load, not dollar, but USDT load, dollar equivalent, Charles, and then you get this 1.5%. I think that's extraordinary. So, well, what happens, Charles, if I load 2 of them? Where do I go? What happens if I load 2 of them, the renewables and the fintech? You stack. All right. So how's the stack work? When you load another $1,000 into the same certificate, not a new one, you don't pay another price, but you start to extract 4% more from that $1,000. Now you're up to 9%. So you're extracting in your weekly payback 9% now. You activated another bonus, which will be released at the end of the term. This term is 30 months. So you get 1.5% for 30 months. Plus, you'll get your bonus of $4,000, which is more than before, and you'll get your $1,000 load back. This is getting good. All right. So what happens if you do 3? The bonus, there's another, you load another one, you get another $3,000 bonus. You get another 3.5% per week. Now you're up to 12.5% per week. 12.5% per week. On $1,000, that's $125 a week for 52 weeks. Now that's off that same $1,000. It's not off a new $1,000. It's off the same $1,000. Okay. So you're stacking 12.5% per week. What if you load another one? This one is 36-month term. What if you load another one? You can. Mr. Best used to say it all the time. You can. You get another bonus. After you load another 1,000, there's a $2,000 bonus, 2.5% weekly payback off that same $1,000. And then this one doesn't give a monthly, it gives a quarterly. They settle up every quarter. Well, what else can you do? Well, you can load the supplements. Supplements gives a bonus, but it doesn't give it in spendable dollars. It gives it in supplement credits in the supplement store. After you load another $1,000, you set up another 3% weekly payback. To keep that payback going, they want you to do this $1,000 every 3 months. And then there's the 6th block folio called gaming. Same here. The bonus is in gaming credits in the EALive.com.games. But you also set up a 4% weekly payback, getting you up to 22%. But you got to do this $1,000 every quarter. Okay, so that's how that works. This is what it looks like when you have some of them loaded. I'm going to stop sharing and go pick up my GS Partners account. And I'm going to take a couple minutes. I'm already late. I'm going to take 5 minutes and show you. I'm going to open the hood and show you what an account looks like. Share screen. Oh God, put some glasses on so you can find it. GS Partners. Share. Okay. That is what is that? That's a Terra. That's a Terra. That's a water. That's a water. A water, a Terra, ready to withdraw and compound. Every one of these is ready to withdraw or compound. Let's go down and find the water since we were talking about a water. You hit the load now button. And you see it says withdraw or compound. You see that I have loaded the main load. Why didn't I do the promotional load? I don't know. I didn't do the promotional load there either. There's a promotional load that's available. Okay. So I didn't do that, but I did load the main load on all 3. And you see there, I've been compounding, but I ain't compounding tonight. Here is the record of what I did. Okay. I'm going to hit this withdraw button and I'm going to select from FinTech and I'm going to, what did I do? It's a weekly withdrawal and withdrawal amount. Look at that, 71.4286 USDT. Withdraw now. I'm overdue on this one. Okay, back to certificates. When I withdraw that, it goes to my dashboard. And then I can convert that to a currency that I can send off. See the little box down there says your account's been credited. Select withdraw from real estate. Please select weekly. Withdraw now. Okay. 45 CVEUR, convertible e-euros. All right, withdraw. Please select renewables. Please select weekly. This is simple, folks. I can do the conversion on my dashboard and I can send this money out to spend at my Coinbase account or drop it into my Chase account within minutes. And it's available for me to spend and pay my bills. Well, what do you do with it, Charles? Hey, don't get me started on the litany of things that I do with the money that I withdraw. But I'm done. I'm going to stop right now. I've gone way too long. I'm going to stop this recording